What, did she do it yet? Ooh, meerkat fight.
They made the world laugh for over a decade. But what happened after the cameras stopped rolling? Behind the jokes were private battles no one saw coming. Lives changed by pressure, loss, and choices that left some almost unrecognizable. And now, nearly 2 decades later, their transformations are raising serious questions. What really happened to the cast after the spotlight faded? In this video, we'll reveal how they looked then, how they look now in 2026, and the real stories behind those changes, drawn from interviews, reports, and moments that fans never forgot. Kaley Cuoco, Penny. Kaley Cuoco stepped into The Big Bang Theory in 2007 as Penny, and almost instantly, she became the face audiences connected to. At just 22, she brought a natural charm that balanced the show's intellectual humor. Penny wasn't just the girl next door. She was warmth, timing, and relatability in a world filled with complex minds. That role didn't just launch her career, it defined an era of television and turned Kaley into one of the most recognizable stars of her generation. But outside the spotlight, her life shifted in ways few expected. In 2010, a serious horseback riding accident left her with a shattered ankle.
Oh my God. Well, I ride horses, as you know. We talked about it before. And
Right.
I had a freak accident. It was the end of my lesson.
An injury so severe it threatened her ability to walk normally again. Recovery was slow, painful, and filled with uncertainty. At the same time, her personal life moved through highs and sudden lows. A fast marriage ended just as quickly, followed by another relationship that also came apart under pressure. Each chapter played out publicly, adding emotional strain to an already demanding career. Then came motherhood, a new role that brought both joy and exhaustion, reshaping how she approached work and life. Now, in 2026, Kaley Cuoco carries a different presence. The bright, carefree energy has evolved into something more grounded and controlled. Her look reflects that shift. More refined, more intentional, and shaped by experience rather than image alone. She continues to work steadily, but with clearer boundaries, choosing projects that align with her life instead of overwhelming it. Balancing acting, producing, and raising her child, she presents a version of success that feels quieter but stronger. The transformation is not just physical, it's personal, shaped by everything she had to overcome to stay standing. At first, it looked like success only made her stronger, but what happened next proved that even the brightest stars can carry the heaviest weight. Mayim Bialik, Amy Farrah Fowler. Mayim Bialik, as Amy Farrah Fowler, quickly reshaped the show's dynamic. Her character started as an uncommon character who exhibited exacting standards and showed no emotional connection, but later developed into a character who matched the series' emotional range. For Mayim, it was more than just a role. The project showed her complete return to television after spending years working at academic institutions and studying neuroscience. She displayed genuine authenticity through her performance as Amy by combining her intelligence with her ability to deliver understated comedy. Audiences saw something different in her performance, something steady and thoughtful that stood apart from the rest of the cast. She had to face various challenges after her marriage ended, which required her to raise her children as a single mother, while she also worked at her demanding job. The process of raising her 2 children through single motherhood required her to shift her focus between work obligations and her family's emotional requirements. Public criticism of her personal choices followed her throughout her life. People engaged in discussions about her parenting and health views, which resulted in her becoming the main topic of conversations she never intended to participate in. The pressure accumulated in silence, which created instances when she lost faith in herself as both a mother and a public figure. Mayim Bialik shows her authentic self to the world today. Her appearance maintains a consistent look, which demonstrates her stable state. She enters public spaces with a peaceful and composed demeanor, which she developed through her experience of handling public duties and private obligations. Her work activities now center around projects that have meaning to her, which include hosting, writing, and acting in selected roles. The intensity of her past experiences has now transformed into complete understanding. She has stopped attempting to fulfill all the demands that other people establish for her. She uses deliberate control of her story to demonstrate that personal development happens through consistent, quiet progress. Jim Parsons, Sheldon Cooper. Jim Parsons stepped into television history when he took on the role of Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory. From the very first episode, his performance stood out. Precise delivery, controlled movement, and a unique rhythm turned Sheldon into one of the most recognizable characters in modern television. It wasn't just acting, it felt exact, almost engineered. The role shaped the tone of the series and elevated Jim into global fame, making him the face of a character that audiences could not separate from the actor behind it. Behind that success, the pressure built slowly but deeply. Maintaining Sheldon's strict personality for over a decade demanded constant control, both mentally and emotionally. At the same time, Jim was navigating his personal identity in a public space that often expects perfection. For years, he kept parts of his life private, creating a quiet tension between who he was and what the industry expected him to present. The long hours, the repetition, and the need to sustain a flawless performance began to wear him down. He later spoke about feeling drained, as if the role that gave him everything was also taking something away piece by piece. By 2026, Jim Parsons presents a noticeably different energy. The intensity that once defined his presence has softened into something calmer and more measured. His appearance reflects natural aging, with subtle changes that signal a shift away from the rigid image audiences once knew. He now chooses projects carefully, prioritizing balance over constant visibility. Public appearances are less frequent, more controlled, and more intentional. The transformation is not dramatic, but it is clear. He has stepped back from the spotlight just enough to protect his peace, creating a life that feels quieter, steadier, and more his own. Kunal Nayyar, Rauch Kuthrapalli. Kunal Nayyar as Rauch Kuthrapalli, a character who spoke little to women while showing a timid yet charming personality, which quickly won over viewers. At just 26, he brought a softness that balanced the louder personalities in the group. Rauch expressed his human qualities through his distinct way of being human. He displayed uncertainty through his emotional responses while he tried to build relationships. His vulnerable state created a connection with the audience, which made him a favorite character who received quiet adoration from viewers, while it brought Kunal sudden global fame. The initial achievements of this success path led to hidden difficulties that started to emerge. The process of becoming famous created requirements that proved difficult for him to manage. Kunal expressed his feelings of being between two cultures because he had to handle what people thought about him while he dealt with his public image. The jokes that used to be easy to tell became serious because they connected with public attitudes and common stereotypes. The situation after the show finished its run continued to create tension between two opposing forces. The situation developed from external forces to become an internal conflict. He experienced episodes of emotional doubt because he wanted to know his life purpose beyond his established identity. The initial boost from being observed by others turned into a feeling of social separation. He experienced disconnection from himself during successful times because he became uncertain about which path he should pursue next. Kunal Nayyar shows a new personality that exudes peacefulness and self-control. His current style of dressing demonstrates his desire for simplification because he has departed from his previous glamorous appearance. He displays his body language, yet he selects his projects based on his research requirements, which will help him develop. He speaks publicly less often, and his speeches show a deep thought process, which he uses to assess his messages. The process of change from one state to another has developed into a fundamental transformation. He has entered a peaceful stage of existence where he chooses to build balance and creativity while he learns about himself instead of following the fast pace that used to determine his professional journey. Melissa Rauch, Bernadette Rostenkovsky-Wolowitz. Melissa Rauch joined The Big Bang Theory as Bernadette Rostenkovsky and quickly proved that presence is not about size, but impact. At first glance, her character seemed soft-spoken and reserved, but within moments, that image flipped. Bernadette's sharp voice, sudden intensity, and precise timing made her one of the show's most unpredictable forces. Melissa turned what could have been a side character into a standout role. Her performance added energy, contrast, and a unique edge that audiences did not expect, but quickly embraced. Behind the scenes, her journey was far more difficult than her on-screen confidence suggested. Before and during her rise, she faced periods of career uncertainty where roles were limited and opportunities felt fragile. At the same time, her personal life carried quiet struggles. She opened up about the emotional toll of fertility challenges, including losses that came without warning and left lasting effects. These experiences were not visible to the audience, but they shaped her deeply. Alongside that, criticism about her voice and appearance followed her career, adding pressure in an industry that often judges quickly and harshly. Balancing those realities while maintaining a strong public image required resilience she rarely spoke about openly. Today, Melissa Rauch shows a different kind of strength. Her appearance reflects confidence built over time, not something forced or temporary. She carries herself with ease, no longer trying to prove her place in the industry. Her career has regained momentum, with roles that highlight her range beyond comedy. There is stability in both her work and personal life, creating a sense of balance that was once difficult to reach. The transformation is clear, not dramatic, but grounded in growth, persistence, and the quiet power of moving forward despite everything. Bob Newhart, Professor Proton. Arthur Jeffries. The Big Bang Theory featured Bob Newhart in the role of Professor Proton, who embodies nostalgic character traits and exhibits silent comedic elements. The actor's brief appearance in the film proved to be highly effective because he brought a significant impact through his performance. He portrayed a fatigued television scientist whose past work had inspired many students to learn, which represented his actual main achievement in the industry. Bob Newhart proved his ability to attract audience attention without using loud performance techniques. The period after his wife died brought him both physical difficulties and emotional struggles. The passing of his wife after decades together marked a deep and personal loss. The alteration to his daily activities created an empty time period that he could not successfully replace. People started to notice the first signs of his aging process. He moved with more caution while his public presence decreased. He encountered health issues throughout his life, yet he approached these challenges with the same quiet strength that had characterized his professional journey. Bob Newhart achieved remarkable success during his career, which lasted until his last performance. His legacy extends far beyond a single role or generation. His restrained comedic style created a comedic method that showed that minimalistic approaches could deliver greater impact. His comedic work remains relevant to contemporary audiences because it demonstrates the past practice of using timing and tonal variation and straightforward humor methods. Johnny Galecki. Leonard Hofstadter. Johnny Galecki took on the role of Leonard Hofstadter and became the emotional center of The Big Bang Theory. While the show leaned into sharp humor and eccentric personalities, Leonard brought balance. He was thoughtful, unsure at times, but deeply human. His interactions grounded the chaos around him, giving the audience someone to connect with on a more personal level. Johnny played the role with restraint, allowing small reactions and quiet moments to carry weight. It was not a loud performance, but it was essential. Without Leonard, the story would have felt incomplete. Behind that steady presence, his life carried moments that tested him in ways the audience rarely saw. Early in the show's run, he faced a serious health scare that disrupted both work and routine. Recovery was not immediate, and it left a lasting impression on how quickly things can change. At the same time, his personal relationships often unfolded under public attention, adding pressure to moments that should have remained private. Fame made even simple connections feel complicated. There were periods where he pulled back, choosing distance over exposure, trying to protect parts of his life that the spotlight could easily overwhelm. By 2026, Johnny Galecki presents a quieter and more grounded version of himself. His appearance reflects natural aging, but also a sense of stability that comes from stepping away from constant visibility. He no longer moves at the same pace as before, taking on fewer roles and focusing on a more private lifestyle. There is a calmness in how he carries himself now, shaped by experience rather than expectation. The energy that once surrounded him has settled, leaving behind someone more centered, more selective, and more in control of his own space. Simon Helberg, Howard Wolowitz. Simon Helberg stepped into The Big Bang Theory as Howard Wolowitz and quickly became one of the show's most energetic forces. His character created a loud and expressive performance, which combined with his unpredictable nature to create a fast pacing which advanced the story. Howard became an unmissable character through his bold clothing, combined with his precise speaking style and his unbroken physical activity. Simon developed his character through his performance by creating a complex character who went beyond basic character stereotypes. The character development moments he added to the comedic scenes created a deeper experience for viewers because they achieved more than instant laughter. The energy he displayed in front of the cameras created challenges for him to control. A demanding filming schedule, together with his family obligations, created mounting tension which reached its peak over time. The production schedule required him to work long hours, which resulted in extended periods away from his home base, making it challenging to maintain a work-life balance. There existed an unvoiced anxiety regarding his future prospects in the industry following the conclusion of the show. The background maintained itself as a persistent anxiety for her. An actor who builds his career around one character will find it hard to develop new roles. The pressures remained hidden from view because they did not create visible outbursts, yet they continued to influence choices while causing operational delays that were hard to identify. Simon Helberg has achieved a complete transformation of his professional path. His current look presents a refined style, while his present demeanor displays a state of tranquility, which differs from his previous on-screen character. He selects his acting projects with deliberate purpose because he wants to develop new skills instead of performing the same character. Family has become the primary focus of his existence because it determines his daily activities and essential commitments. The evolution process unfolds in a natural manner, which creates a steady transformation. He has developed a system that allows him to maintain dedicated work periods while preserving time for his personal activities. Up to this point, their changes felt personal, even understandable. But the next name on this list faced something far deeper. Battles that didn't just change his life, but how the world sees them forever. Wil Wheaton, himself. Wil Wheaton entered The Big Bang Theory as a version of himself, and that choice gave the show something rare. He blurred the line between fiction and reality, turning his own public image into part of the story. At first, he appeared as a rival to Sheldon, almost playing into old perceptions people had of him. But over time, that role shifted. He became more layered, more human, and more self-aware. It was not just a guest appearance. It was a quiet reinvention, using humor to reshape how audiences saw him after years in the public eye. Behind that reinvention was a past that carried real weight. Wil has spoken openly about difficult experiences growing up, including pressure from a young age that shaped how he saw himself and his career. Those early struggles followed him into adulthood, turning into long-term mental health battles. There were periods marked by anxiety, depression, and a sense of disconnection that success alone could not fix. Even as he returned to television, those challenges did not disappear. Now, Wil Wheaton presents a more open and grounded version of himself. His appearance reflects age, but also a sense of acceptance that was not always there before. He has stepped away from constant on-screen roles and shifted his focus toward writing, speaking, and advocacy. He shares his experiences with honesty, using his platform to connect with others facing similar struggles. The transformation is clear. He no longer relies on performance to define his place. Instead, he builds it through truth, reflection, and a steady commitment to understanding himself and helping others do the same. Laura Spencer. Emily Sweeney. Laura Spencer joined The Big Bang Theory as Emily Sweeney, and even with limited screen time, she left a clear impression. Her character stood out for being different. The character presented a new show tone through his calmness, directness, and his slightly disturbing presence. Emily was not loud or exaggerated, but she had presence. Laura delivered her lines with precision, creating moments that felt sharp and memorable. The role demonstrated her capacity to develop depth in secondary characters because she could attract interest without requiring constant observation. After the spotlight of the show, her path did not follow the same trajectory as some of her co-stars. The industry moved at a fast pace, which resulted in her not receiving roles that matched her full range of acting abilities. The casting directors used typecasting to limit their view of her performances by only considering her previous roles. The possibilities for her work remained restricted, even though she delivered exceptional performances in other projects. The need to maintain public visibility while pursuing artistic development became her silent battle. Laura Spencer has undergone a more subtle yet important change because of her transformation, which will reach its completion by 2026. Her appearance shows natural facial development, which progressed through time without any major transformations or full character changes. The primary focus of her work now extends beyond acting into her new role as producer and her responsibilities in storytelling. She can now select her preferred projects because this new system enables her to choose which work she will participate in. The path requires less attention, but maintains a balance between creative independence and secure employment. Kevin Sussman. Stuart Bloom. Kevin Sussman played Stuart Bloom, the quiet comic book store owner who often felt like he was on the edge of everything. While other characters filled the screen with energy, Stuart stood out through vulnerability. He was awkward, uncertain, and often struggling, yet deeply relatable. Kevin brought a subtle honesty to the role, turning small moments into something meaningful. Viewers saw pieces of real life in him, making Stuart one of the most quietly memorable characters in the series. Off-screen, his journey reflected many of the same challenges. His personal life went through a difficult period when his marriage ended, leaving him to rebuild both emotionally and practically. At the same time, he dealt with a serious injury that interrupted his ability to work, adding uncertainty to an already unstable situation. Financial pressure followed, especially during times when acting opportunities slowed down. Now, Kevin Sussman presents a steadier version of himself. His appearance reflects a natural progression, marked more by experience than dramatic change. There is a sense of regained confidence, built over time rather than overnight. His career remains low profile, but it is stable. The shift is clear. He is no longer chasing momentum. Instead, he maintains it in his own way, focusing on consistency and balance. The transformation is quiet, but it shows the strength of someone who kept moving forward through uncertainty. Christine Baranski. Beverly Hofstadter. Christine Baranski brought Beverly Hofstadter to life with a presence that was sharp, controlled, and impossible to ignore. From the moment she appeared, her character shifted the tone of every scene. Beverly used her calm, analytical approach to create emotional distance, which she used to challenge others in her presence. Christine delivered each line with clarity, turning even simple dialogue into something layered. The period between her screen time showed her existence in a more substantial life period. The moment of her husband's death after their 50 years of marriage brought a silent yet total transformation of her life. The absence of someone required different solutions than work and daily activities. The new situation required her to change all aspects of her life because it created a new territory that demanded both her time and her ability to adapt. Grief did not come all at once. It settled over time, showing up in quiet moments and lingering in ways that were not always visible to others. She showed dedication to her job during all of her challenges because she needed to handle both her personal grief and her work obligations, which became harder for her to manage. Christine Baranski developed her current elegant style through her various life experiences. Her appearance shows natural aging, but it is carried with confidence and grace. She has entered a more peaceful period in her career, which has led her to select her performances. The intensity of earlier years has softened into something more composed. She remains respected for her work, but also for how she has carried herself through change. The process of transformation requires people to build their capacity for enduring existence while they keep their ability to achieve success through the power of their inner strength. John Ross Bowie, Barry Kripke. John Ross Bowie appeared on The Big Bang Theory as Barry Kripke, a character who brought a different kind of energy to the show. He was sharp, unpredictable, and often used as a rival who challenged the main group. What made him stand out was not just the humor, but the way he disrupted the usual rhythm. His delivery, his timing, and his distinct personality turned even short appearances into memorable moments. He played the role with confidence, making Kripke feel like more than just a side character. He became a wild card that added tension and contrast whenever he was on screen. Behind that performance, his personal life followed a more complicated path. He has spoken about dealing with struggles that developed over time, including issues with alcohol and periods of emotional difficulty. These were not sudden problems. They built slowly, affecting his relationships and his sense of stability. There were moments where things felt out of control, where the balance between work and personal life started to slip. Recognizing that pattern was not easy, but it became necessary. Today, John Ross Bowie shows a clear shift in direction. His appearance reflects better health, with a steadier and more composed presence. There is a sense of control in how he carries himself now, shaped by the work he has put into rebuilding his life. He continues to stay active creatively, but with a stronger focus on balance and long-term stability. Ann Susi, Debbie Wolowitz. Voice. Ann Susi became one of the most recognizable voices on The Big Bang Theory without ever appearing on screen. Debbie Wolowitz, her character in the show, came to life through her voice performance. She delivered her performance through loud, emotional vocalizations, which created her character's dynamic energy that animated every scene, despite her physical absence. The effect she created played out in a unique way. Viewers never saw her face, yet they knew exactly who she was the moment she spoke. The achievements she attained required her to experience reality, which fell below what people expected of her. She spent years working in smaller roles, moving from project to project without the steady recognition that others in the industry often received. The acting career brought her unstable conditions because it required her to wait extended periods before getting new job opportunities. She remained mostly unknown to the public, although she played a vital role in a major television production. Her life experienced a sudden transformation. She received a serious illness diagnosis, which occurred shortly before her death, and left her with only limited time for both treatment and preparation. Ann Susi showed that people can exist without being visible to others. The character she voiced has become an everlasting presence because her work continues to exist. The time she spent in the public eye was limited, yet her impact on people has remained powerful. The statement shows that people create a lasting impact through their actions, which others will continue to remember after their death. Some stories end quietly, but one final name changes everything about how we remember this cast. Laurie Metcalf, Mary Cooper. Laurie Metcalf brought Mary Cooper to life as the steady force behind Sheldon's world, and her presence gave the show a kind of balance that nothing else could replace. Her performance made every scene she appeared in feel stable because she maintained a quiet presence. Through her performance, she displayed a warm and believable energy, which made her appear as a quiet leader who brought stability to disorderly situations. Mary was more than a supporting role. Her strength was accompanied by personal challenges that required her to develop equal levels of resilience. The relationships she encountered brought her various challenges, which resulted in multiple occasions of relationship rebuilding. As a mother, she managed dual responsibilities of parenting her children and maintaining her professional commitments in an industry that operates with continuous demands. The period included times when she experienced complete exhaustion and faced emotional challenges while needing to maintain her strength during periods of uncertainty. Laurie Metcalf's appearance shows natural aging, but it carries a sense of depth rather than decline. She remains active, continuing to take on roles that match her range and experience. Her current self-presentation shows silent self-assurance, which developed from her experiences of success and adversity throughout many years. What started as a simple sitcom turned into something far more human than anyone expected. Behind the humor were real lives shaped by pressure, change, and time. If this surprised you, let us know in the comments which transformation shocked you the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the next video on your screen, because the next story might change how you see your favorite stars all over again.